Stepping up, Gilbert fires over the middle for the end zone. It's broken up, incomplete. And the game is over.
8-0, man, for the first time in franchise history.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the first time in the history of their franchise, are 8-0.
It's not without its trials today, obviously. You can't keep having these conversations every week because one of these weeks we'll be doing it with an L if we're not careful.
You know, 8-0 is nothing to sneeze at, but then again, when you think about the history of this franchise, fellas, the Pittsburgh Steelers here, you heard Mike Tomlin say it. I mean, 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, 1 under Cowher, 1 under Tomlin. Again, not going 8-0 out of the gate is not a simple thing, but this is a franchise, if any, I would have thought could have gotten there, especially because they're dominance over several decades, but here they are 8-0 for the first time. A little bit of a scare, though, when Neville Gallimore ran into Ben Roethlisberger there in the second quarter. You had visions, Jay said, of Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph coming right back. Eventually, Roethlisberger able to get back in there, and a much tougher than expected win over the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I know. And you know, when Dallas went up and you're sitting there watching it, at least me, I wasn't necessarily worried about it. I knew in fashion the Cowboys would somewhat fold and the Pittsburgh Steelers will win ugly because that's just who Pittsburgh is. I mean, even if Pittsburgh was up and they started up and it was 7-0, it was still going to be an ugly win. It wasn't just going because that's just not their style. Their style is just hard, rugged, tough, and they win by a few points. They don't blow people out. I mean, it's just not who Pittsburgh is. And so, you know, Dallas Cowboys, to their credit, they played as hard as they could. They fought as hard as they could. But it wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be. That offensive line, you know, you look at Ezekiel Elliott, man, I feel bad for him. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, best running back in the National Football League. Offensive line certainly makes a difference. Having Dak Prescott underneath the center makes a world of a difference. And now Ezekiel can't even get out of his own way.
But he got his money.
No, but Yeah, but we're not even talking about the money side of it because the money side of it is in the back pocket and in the bank now, right? It's about winning and living up to the expectations. And when I can't get the necessary yardage or the touches that I need to be able to do what they paid me to do, I don't feel good inside, even though I got the money. That's the way athletes are. We got our money. We good. Now let me ball the same way I ball to get the money.
Let me ask you as a fan, though, just as a fan. Is it the idea that simply if you got Garrett Gilbert back there, I mean, I guess I don't have to be Dick LeBeau to realize you rush everybody at Garrett Gilbert, and as a result, what's Ezekiel Elliott going to do? I mean,
it still doesn't feel good, though. You know, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. When you paying me this type of money, I want to contribute, and I want to be a part of it. I don't want to just wear a jersey. I mean, that's how, at least from my perspective, the athletes think.
Well, I would say this. That's fair to say. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. The Cowboys might be America's team. Ben says the Steelers are something else.
I'm not trying to take any shots at anybody, but if you didn't know who America's team was, you should have seen the stands and all the terrible towels. Dallas may be America's team, but we'll be the world's team because we got fans everywhere and they're the best in the world. Straight
Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. You sort of said that last week. Look out for the terrible towels.
Absolutely. I knew that. Everybody knows that. Pittsburgh Steelers fans travel all over the world. I don't know where they come from, but they travel all over the world. Between the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Steelers, you see them everywhere. I mean, if you go through the airports before we got to the pandemic on the weekends when we would travel back and forth to ESPN, you go through the airport on a Friday night or a Saturday, full of Pittsburgh Steelers fans going somewhere to a damn game.
I'll say this. Watching the first half last night, I'm like, all right, Gilbert's coming out here. The Cowboys looking like they belong. What? Kind of shocking. Shocking that they look like they belong, but also the Steelers understanding at times they played to their competition to a degree, Key. And then watching Big Ben get hurt, I just sat there. I literally was having orange juice, and I almost spit my orange juice out when I saw that his knee give out. And I got worried because him going back to the locker room. But even after the game was over, Key, I walked away saying, yes, the Steelers are 8-0. But after watching the Chiefs, I'm like, all right, the Chiefs are still the best team in football. Even though the Steelers are undefeated, I'm not ready to give them that mantle yet because they're undefeated.
See, you said something that made my eyebrows move up. The Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Don't know if they're the best team in football. I know they're the best team in the AFC. I don't know about the best team in football because that team I saw last night,
That's fair.
They may have something to say about that. You know, They just may have something to say about it.
What will it take for the Steelers to ascend to the top spot in the real rankings or put them at the very top of the NFL, considering they're winning ugly, but they're winning at a clip like nobody else is?
Yeah, they're right there, though. They're in the tops. I mean, they're in the top 5. You know, the interesting thing about Pittsburgh is that they're 8-0 right now. And as they continue to move forward, they're going to get to 9-0 and 10-0 and presumably 11-0 and 12-0. This is, Jay talked about Kansas City. It talked about certain situations, teams having undefeated records and who would try to go undefeated. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, if they get to a point where they can be 16-0, I promise to God they're going 16-0. Because that's what his personality and who Coach T is. It's like, okay, this is what it is. We're gonna push it to 16-0. So if they get to 13-0 or 12-0, that pressure to go 16-0 is gonna be on them, but they're gonna relish it because that's something I believe that they would like to do if they had the opportunity to, as an organization as well as a head coach.
I thought a couple of weeks ago we were getting into an argument about this. I thought you said that if you get to that point where you get like 14-0, 15-0, that you start to think about, do I rest Big Ben? But there's that psychologically of Mike Tomlin?
No difference. So Mike T is the type of dude that just his personality is like, we gonna get to 16-0 by resting our guys and doing what we need to do to keep everybody healthy, but our eyes is gonna be on 16-0, if that makes any sense to you. Do just enough.
Do both.
To do both in just enough. But you got to remember, too, also, they're probably going to have to go to length because of Kansas City. Kansas City has one loss, and Kansas City right now is in the second place. So, therefore, with this new divisional conference deal, there's not 2 byes. There's only 1 bye. So the undefeated team or the team with the one loss gets that bye. And right now, the undefeated team is Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's got to go all the way to be able to get the first bye.
Now remember their game got postponed with the Titans. They played at a later date. So Steelers don't have a bye week. I mean, they're playing how many weeks straight? I think they're playing every week straight pretty much.
And the
but the bye,
And the key's point,
I hear you, but for Big Ben, I've seen him have injuries. I mean, you wish that you had a week off just to help him out.
They'll figure out how to get him healthy. They may not. I don't know who they play that's a week on their schedule, but if they got a weak opponent, they could just leave him in practice and light and not practice that week.
Jaguars next week.
See, they might have
Bengals
a walkthrough.
and Jaguars.
They may just have a walkthrough.
As Jay said, Bengals on the way immediately for them. Key wanted to mention this year, 7 teams are making the playoffs. Only 1 team, the top team in each conference, gets the first round bye. And right now, that would be Pittsburgh over Kansas City. Plenty of time to go, though, during the season. We're asking on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed, who's the NFL MVP? Be a part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed. ESPN Nation presented by Dr. Pepper. It's official. College football's back. So is your favorite Dr. Pepper-loving college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice-cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper today. Still to come, he's the youngest quarterback to ever win the MVP. He was only the 2nd unanimous MVP in league